Hello, Americans. Stand by for news.
Exclusively on ESPN Plus, UFC 313, Saturday. Reigning light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira defends his title against number one contender Magomed Ankalaev, and an explosive lightweight bout between Justin Gaethje and Rafael Pazzi. UFC 313, Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Buy it on ESPNPlus.com/PPV.
This episode is brought to you by Coffee Mate. After watching this season of the HBO's original series, The White Lotus, this is the tropical getaway I needed. One more pina colada, please.
Hey, you're not on mute.
Oh, I thought I was in paradise. Turns out it was my Coffee Mate. Coffee Mate Pina Colada and Thai-iced coffee flavored creamers. Inspired by the newest season of HBO's original series, The White Lotus. For the love of coffee. Try now.
This is the Classic Guitar Rock Daily Update. All the classic rock news of the day. With your host, Jeremy Lunnan.
Hey, hello, it's Monday edition of the Classic Guitar Rock Daily Update. Thanks for being here. Have you checked out the radio station yet? Yes, I'm continuing to plug Classic Guitar Rock Radio because, quite frankly, it's exciting. It's good. The music is great. I uploaded some more music last night. I took down some music last night. I tweaked things. So here's what you do. There's a little behind the scenes, pulling back the curtain of a radio executive's life. So you got to upload your music, right, onto the platform. So it means I'm buying music. I buy music, download it, upload it to the site, that sort of thing. And then you got to pay your licensing fees to BMI, ASCAP, all of that. Well, fortunately, that cover, the fee I pay to the radio platform. I use Live 365 is the platform I use, and I love it. So part of the fee you pay covers the licensing fees because you got to pay the publisher, BMI, ASCAP, Sound Exchange, all these publishing bodies. That's how they pay songwriters and publishers, right? So a portion of the money you pay to the platform goes to pay those fees. Anyways, you got to upload the music, all of that. So here's what I find. You got to be careful when you download the music because you think you're buying a version of the song and you find out that ain't the version. So for instance, there's a cheesy song from the 70s that I'm a big fan of, Billy Thorpe, Children of the Sun. It came out like 73, something like that. It's cheesy, but I like it. So I wanted to add it to the rotation. So I go to this website where you can buy music, and I bought Children of the Sun by Billy Thorpe. Well, the version I got sucks big time. It's stupid. I mean, it's like some remake he did 10 years ago or something, and it's crap. So first thing this morning, I had to go in and delete that sucker. And I was so mad that I don't know that I'm going to go waste the time to find the right version just because Billy Thorpe ticked me off so bad putting that kind of crap out there. Don't get me started on it. It was wretched. It was stupid. I don't even understand it. Why would anyone want to listen to that crap? And it was confusing on the site because that's not the version I was looking for. And I've been fooled a few times. Like I'll download a version. It winds up being a live track from somewhere. I didn't want the live track. I want the version that was the hit. You got to be careful. Okay. You got to be careful out there, folks. So, anyways, I'm constantly tweaking the music. I'm doing things. I mentioned we got Nigel, our AI British guy who does the sweepers. I mean, it's a full on radio station. You should check it out. I'm biased, but I like the mix. I think you'd like it. Listen to it 40 hours a week, guys. That's all I'm asking. Listen to it 40 hours a week. That's all. Okay, now, my penchant for going off on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and some of that will happen today. It will happen because today is last night they announced all the inductees, or sometime over the weekend. I don't know when it was, but they've announced the inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Dung. So we're going to talk about that with some comment. And you guys can chime in too if you're watching. Go in on one of the various platforms. You can come in real time and leave your comments. I'll share those. This year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees were announced live on ABC's American Idol by Ryan Seacrest and Hall of Fame inductee Lionel Richie. So here are the inductees this year. They include Mary J. Blige, Mary J. Blige, Cher, Dave Matthews Band, Foreigner, Peter Frampton, Kool and the Gang, Ozzy Osbourne, and A Tribe Called Quest. I couldn't tell you a Tribe Called Quest song if it bit me on the buttocks. Don't know anything about them. I guarantee you, they shouldn't be going in before Kansas and Boston and Styx and Bad Company and several Iron Maiden. You know, the list goes on. But anyways, it is what it is. So we're at least getting Frampton, Ozzy, Foreigner in. Okay, they should be in. Foreigner and Frampton should have been in years ago. Ozzy as a solo artist probably should have been in quite a while ago also, but especially, I mean, the fact that they're just now getting around to Foreigner, and we're going to get into that, why it took so long, because there's a reason. There's a reason. But then these other, Mary J. Blige, Cher, whatever, Cher, Dave Matthews Band, yeah, he should probably be in. I'm not a fan of Dave Matthews, but I think he's probably should be in there. Very successful in the 90s. And, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with Kool and the Gang. I love Kool and the Gang. I don't have a problem with Lionel Richie. I was a big Commodores fan. And even Lionel Richie. I don't have a problem. Mary J. Blige, Tribe Called Quest. I don't know. And then they also have, now here's the thing too. They've got these additional asterisk categories, right? Where they'll induct certain people that, well, you're not good enough to go in as a regular inductee, but we'll put you in as this special musical influence award. Okay. You're not quite good enough to go in as a regular, but we'll put you in as a musical influence award. So for instance, Judas Priest went in as a musical influence award. Okay. Green Day goes in their first year eligible. Judas Priest goes in 25 years too late as a musical influence award. That's just what winds me up. But here's the good news. Okay, Frampton, he's super excited and good for him. He says, I think I'm a little bit in shock and speechless. I never expected this. People always said, you should be in. And I had said, what is to be, so mixed emotions because it's something that I just never expected. Whereas other people did for me. He said, it's wonderful. So he's excited and he should be in, absolutely should be in there. He says, you never quite know how you are regarded. I don't think about that. I just do my thing. But ending up in the number 2 position, he was number 2 in the voting right behind Dave Matthews Band. But ending up in the number 2 position blew me away, actually. It's an honor. People regard me in this way. I'm just honored and blown away. Similarly, Mick Jones of Foreigner finally getting in there about 30 years too late. I think it means more to me now than perhaps 20 years ago. I've had a great career, and this is like the whipped cream and cherry on top. It's something I will savor over the years. It's a great honor to be included amongst all these great artists that have been inducted over the years. Rick Wills, who was the former, he was the bassist in Foreigner from, he started with Foreigner 4 on, so late 79. Maybe he was on Head Games. He either started with, I think he did start with Head Games. So Ed Gagliardi was on like the first 2 or 3, and then with Head Games, it was Rick Wills. So Rick Wills was on Head Games, Foreigner 4, up through 93. He says, we're more than thrilled. It's been over 20 years since we've been waiting for this day. So they're 20 years too late, I guess. I said 30. I exaggerated. I suppose we are frustrated, to be perfectly honest. but we tried to hide it as best we could because we didn't want to appear like we were sad people. I mean, what else could you do but what we've done already with our music and what people have appreciated and enjoyed? We didn't understand why we didn't get that recognition. Well, here's some insight into why Foreigner wasn't in there. Jan Winter, founder of Rolling Stone magazine and who started the Hall, is a dork ratchet. Okay, that's the problem. And you know, he got ousted a year ago. So my hope is that these bands that should have been in there 20 and 30 years ago will start getting in. So it was all political. And if this Jan Winter guy didn't like you, you didn't go in. Lou Gramm said, quote, "It's a personal vendetta between the gentleman who runs Rolling Stone and Mick. It's very juvenile, the whole thing, and I don't think it's going to get any better. I think it's going to stay that way. I think we're being made an example of." And Graham noted that Winter once said, "It'll be a cold day in hell before Foreigner gets into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame." So that right there is all you need to know about Jan Winter and the Rock and Roll Hall. Okay, it's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You can't tell me Foreigner didn't play rock and roll and wasn't famous. Multi-platinum albums. Way more deserving than A Tribe Called Quest. And I'm not against A Tribe Called Quest. It's just the logic. It's just crazy. So the Rock Hall has been a joke. Maybe it will become less of a joke now that Winter is out. Remember, Winter made some misogynistic, borderline racist comments. That's what got him into trouble. I mean, he should have been ousted years ago just because he was dumb. But then finally they had to get rid of him when it just made things too uncomfortable for, he's a dork ratchet, right? So he got ousted. And so now maybe we'll see some common sense like Styx and Kansas and Boston being in there. I stirred up a hornet's nest last week. I didn't mean to. I posted Green Day went in the very first year they were eligible. Okay. Very first year they were eligible, Green Day went in. This is not an anti-Green Day tirade. Okay. But can you honestly tell me Green Day was more deserving than Styx? I don't see it. But again, I'm not in the hall, but that's why I had over 600,000 views on that little post I made about Green Day last week. And again, it's not an anti-Green Day post. It's help a feller understand. Why does Green Day go in the first year they're eligible? And Yes didn't go in till after Chris Squire had died. They waited 20 years too long for Yes. Green Day goes in the first year they're eligible. A Tribe Called Quest is going in now. Share. Ozzy Osbourne, he's going in. That's great. Ozzy has shared his excitement after being elected to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for a second time. He's already in with Black Sabbath. He says, quote, and I think someone might have said this for him, "With every new music venture, there's always a certain amount of surprise that comes when you see the fans embrace it, because no one wants to make a record and have it flop. I feel like I was invited to a party in 1980 and it hasn't stopped. Not bad for a guy who was fired from his last band." Now, this is what's fascinating, because back in the 90s, again, Black Sabbath wasn't inducted until years after they were eligible. Again, Green Day goes in the first year they're eligible. A pop pretend punk band, right? They go in the first year they're eligible. Black Sabbath doesn't go in the first year they were eligible. Can you believe that? Does that make any sense? Can you tell me that Green Day is more important than Black Sabbath was? I'm going to have to take some meds. Okay. But back in 99, okay, this was already after Black Sabbath should have been inducted before 99. Ozzy had said, quote, just take our name off the list. Save the ink. Forget about us. The nomination is meaningless because it's not voted on by the fans. It's voted on by the supposed elite for the industry and the media who've never bought an album or concert ticket in their lives. So their vote is irrelevant to me. Let's face it. Black Sabbath has never been media darlings. We're a people's band, and that suits us just fine, end quote. Ozzy, that is exactly right. And that's why the Rock and Roll Hall and Rolling Stone magazine are big piles of steaming poo-poo. That's exactly it. Those people who are making the decisions who gets to come into the hall and who gets to be on our top 100 artist list or whatever stupid, idiotic thing Rolling Stone magazine does, they don't go buy albums. They get them sent to them free, right? And they're not about music. They're about trying to look smarter than everyone in the room, and it's a big fat joke. So Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a joke, Rolling Stone magazine joke. The two biggest jokes really in the music industry. I think almost everyone believes that, except the people that work for Rolling Stone who somehow think they're important, who rip on artists and make fun of artists when none of them that I know of have ever had a successful album. I don't know. Now I'm just getting angry. So we'll be done talking about the Rock and Roll Hall for a while, hopefully, right? Super happy Foreigner's finally in. Frampton's in, Ozzy's in, all good. I'm kind of excited Kool and the Gang is in because I've always kind of liked Kool and the Gang. They're in. Great. One little live music note for you. Heart has kicked off their Royal Flush tour on this past Saturday in Greenville, South Carolina. And their opening act, Cheap Trick. Man, what a great show that would be. I'm going to go see that if it rolls through my neck of the woods. I'm not sure it's going to. It probably will. I will absolutely go see Cheap Trick and Heart. That would be a great show. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for all your support. If you haven't yet, please check out the radio station. And remember, you can go to classicguitarrock.com, click right on the radio button or right on the podcast button. It takes you to either. So it's wonderful. Thanks so much. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Live long and prosper. Bye-bye.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Thanks for listening. You can email Jeremy at classicguitarrock@mail.com.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Tune in each weekday for the Classic Guitar Rock Daily Update.